and welcome back to King B's Daily Podcast, where we look at the RNSs from the day, a bit of summary on each one, and the market reaction. So first up, SRB. They've said that proven and probable resources are now 206,000 ounces. This is a threefold increase where they reported 67,000 before, and at an average grade of 7.78 GT, grams per tonne of gold, AU. Next, they talk about 11% increase in mean grade 2 and 7% up on the day. So good day for SRB. Looks like they're working hard for shareholders and the company. Next up, PPP, 4% up on the day. They've had a increase from 113 BOPD, barrels of oil per day, to 248 barrels of oil per day. 100% owned asset. But with all companies, what I like to see is either a steady production rate or it go up. So what they need to do now is track whether that lasts, that barrel BOPD rate, or whether it does decline. And that's where the profit comes in for the company. Next up, MYX, formal purchase order added now with a value of 5.4 million. They produce water treatment systems, basically, and they're saying it's gathering traction, which is great. And the second trial is going on in the Middle East. Next up, Turn. So a lot of information in here and not a lot of numbers, though, for me. What I'd like to see is the value of their investments and how they are doing. Now, we get a lot of detail in here, and I'll break it down bits by bits, but we need some numbers, and there was no actual numbers of what their value is. The only numbers we've had, which I'll talk about in a minute, is on one of their investments. So first up, Device Authority, 53.8% holding. They're talking about scaling up, the fact they're winning new customers, and they've got new personnel in the US. All really good, no numbers. 12% in another one, 25% in World, 23% in another company, 28% in VMA, which is now called Kinetic, or KONEKTIC. But they're choosing not to invest further. This was in a previous RNS because the revenues did not meet their expectations. So what's important about Turn here, and breaking down all these little investments, and then 5.9% in Sure Valley Ventures, is, if one of them hasn't gone well, we need to see some numbers on the other ones. What revenues are these companies bringing in? What is that meaning to Turn's investments? Now, to be honest, the previous RNS did say that their investment in Kinetic is still higher than what they put in, but it needs to keep going or it could fall, and we need numbers on the other ones. I always talk about numbers and profits, which are very important. Next up, CRTA, 4% up on the day. The VP for Investor Relations has purchased 150,000 shares. Good to see any directors in the company purchasing shares. And there's a few others along the way today, other RNSs talking about sort of spread bet accounts, buying in big and longs and things. But again, what we want to see is direct purchases. Those are the most important. We saw one of those today. And another direct purchase in ETP, 5% up on the day. There's a purchase here of 320,000, which now is an 18.47%. Well done to the CEO. And then basically him and closely associated people have got 6.1 million shares in the company. Next up, POLB. One I've talked about before in these RNSs. They've got a fully granted immunomodulator 1 patent, and they're waiting for the formal granting of the next part here, which is their sort of immunomodulator 2 in due course. High sort of unmet medical need as they're looking at things like severe influenza for this one particularly. It's an interesting little company, this, in the pharma world, and it might be worth a bit of a deep dive into this because there's a lot going on here and they seem like they're doing some good work, which is great. Next up, UKOG, UKOG, 7% up on the day. They're 50% owned asset. They've got some bits in that have come in from another country. They're waiting to resume testing, so I suppose excitement is building for testing, but we know the risks with testing. We need to make sure it goes well. Next up, Palm. They started their diamond drilling program for gold. They're 122 kilometre squared, and they're looking to basically expand their drilling, work on their drilling now, and it's in that really exciting phase for shareholders where they could start getting some discoveries. 3% down the day, but that discovery phase is often a spike associated somewhere when they start bringing in hopefully some good numbers for shareholders. So there we go, there's the RNS summaries. If you want to join our group, which is the largest in the UK on Telegram, find our link in the description, and we'll look forward to seeing you in our group and debating in a research-driven ramp fee space. Thanks everyone, have a good evening.